sell your goods. So do shop around before you decide where to sell your wares on the internet. Just don't forget us when you make your first million.
With all this talk about making money online, I think I'm raring to go, so I'll see you in a few. You know, I've seen t-shirts here saying don't quit your daydream. And mine is to increase my earning potential, so I'm seriously thinking about selling something on eBay. Maybe this sweater?
It seems so easy to make your first million simply by selling knickknacks online. So I'm going to plunge into it head on and try it out for myself. What have I got to lose but the shirt on my back, right? Brad Porches from eBay has been tasked to walk me through the process of listing on the site. But for this first time, I'm not out to make a profit. I'm going to put this very sweater I'm wearing on auction for a good cause. Money earned from the sale will go to orphan kids.
What do you say? Timothy Go?
Timothy Go's That's IT sweater, as seen on TV.
Okay.
I was told that I need more than a catchy picture to make my pink sweater stand out. One useful tip is to have a story behind the item on auction so buyers know what they're getting. There, all set and posted. So what are you waiting for? Go bid on my sweater. My humble sweater is just one of the many items put online to raise funds for charity. Online charity auction is huge. There are many sites which feature items on sale for worthy causes.
Particularly in the US, we've seen everything from ties and Blackberries to once-in-a-lifetime events and opportunities, unique collectible items, and everything in between.
Like sought-after tickets for concerts, holiday packages, original artworks, and entertainment memorabilia.
Charity auctions online actually tend to do better than offline auctions, and it really makes sense. You can only fit a few hundred people in a room to bid on an item, but online, on the eBay marketplace, you have access to 193 million people that might be able to bid on your item or your event and raise even more money for your cause. In fact, there was an event for a lunch with Warren Buffett where they were auctioning it off at a gala for a few years and raised about $27,000. When they put it on eBay, it's raised well over 10x the amount that they were able to raise at the offline gala. We're really proud of that.
eBay Giving Works plans to initiate some of these charity auctions from Asia, subject of course to regulations in the respective countries.
There are a lot of guidelines and policies and regulations, and they actually differ by country. So charitable solicitations in the US are very different from the UK, very different from China, very different from Japan, et cetera. So we really have to do a lot of research and roll out the program in a very careful and concerted way.
Here in Singapore, the Society for the Physically Disabled recently invited eBay to give courses to its members on how to list on its local auction site. The society already has a presence on the internet, but decided to explore eBay as an alternative site to put their art and craft items such as notebooks, photo albums, and bookmarks online for sale.
We realize the hit rates in eBay is a lot more than we host it in our own website. Our own website is good for those who are having an interest in our organizations, activities and information. They will visit us. However, we realize that the target audience is still quite small. So through the eBay, we are able to expand and let our presence be felt across the globe as well.
I find it's very interesting. After this course, I will go for more and try to help SPD to put their products on web so that the buyers can buy.
For the physically disabled, getting online also offers them more opportunities to do what they couldn't do before.
It's also another form of avenue for them to earn extra pocket money. Even if they are not working with us, they will know how to do their own transaction and to be independent so that they can be more self-reliant.
Well, I've learned so much and met so many colorful people on this trip. If you want to know more, do log on to my blog at channelnewsasia.com/that'sit.
Well, that's it. It's my turn to enjoy the show, so it's goodbye for now, and I'll see you all next week.
Talk to me. Talk to me. If you feel the need or when you need to feel it, talk to me. If you feel the need or when you need to feel it, talk to me.
Hello, everyone. I'm Timothy Go. This is That's IT, and this week we're going to talk about the thing that makes the world go round: money. We all know how it works. It's value of money, a medium of exchange that lets us buy anything we want.
Well, these days, who needs to walk around with large wads of cash in their wallet? Heck, who needs plastic?
Money has gone virtual, and currency is now transmitted in bits and bytes.
Electronic money has made its presence more now than ever before. In many ways, money has become digital, existing only as entries in bank records. The increasing number of online financial transactions is a testimony to that.
Between 2004 and 2005, physical cash in circulation rose 7%, whereas if you look at just the NETS FPOS system, electronic payments, that grew 15%. If you look at eNets, our internet payments, we are today processing pretty close to 1 billion Sing dollars per annum. We've been doubling up in size every year for the last 4 years. So that gives you an idea of which types of payments are growing. The electronic payments are growing much, much faster than physical cash payments.
NETS started its electronic payment service called eNets 5 years ago, offering 3 types of payment methods to its users via an eNets account that's linked to a credit card, a bank account, or a virtual account.
The virtual account can be used to make smaller payments. You basically load money into a virtual account and then make payments from that account, either using a PC or even a handphone. So people who have small, gifts, for example, they may be sharing the cost of a gift. They can settle up with each other using an I2U payment, and an email is sent to the other person telling them that so-and-so has paid them. No more queuing, and the control is really in the hands of the consumer. He can make a payment 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So that's a real value proposition to the consumer.
From long queues at the banks to automated teller machines and finally, internet banking. Can it get any better? Well, yes. There's mobile phone banking that lets you transact on the go. Singapore Bank, OCBC, for instance, recently rolled out such a service for its customers on GPRS-enabled phones.
You have the secure banking transactions as well as the mobile portal. Now, on the secure banking transaction side, a mobile banking customer for OCBC can inquire on his account balance, query on his line of credit, as well as credit card transactions. The next he can do is funds transfers, right, to his own account or to a third party, right? And lastly is the bill payment. He can pay bills to over 80 organizations we have relationships with.
With today's roaming services, you can make a banking transaction from virtually anywhere in the world. Still, if you don't have the latest mobile phones that support banking on the move, you don't have to feel left out. E-money is not only about online transactions. We've used it before, like when we pay with our humble cash card.
We have been running the cash card system for about 10 years, and it's based on the contact technology. In recent years, we wanted to go into certain segments that really require speedier speed of transaction. and we started exploring looking into contactless. So we need to embrace both contact and contactless so that we can take advantage of our current infrastructure and yet be able to benefit from the speedier turnaround time. And therefore we embrace this combi, which includes both the contact and the contactless function in one card. If you use this card at retailers, we just have a contact infrastructure, a contact terminal, it can be accepted. If you want to go into new merchants, like for example QSRs, which has a contactless terminal, you can also just wave and go. And the difference in the transaction, you're talking about milliseconds versus seconds. Yeah.
The Combi Cash Card is an example of how e-money can get creative. And don't get jealous now, but in this instance, the young ones get a head start in trying it out.
We have about 83% of our students on board. We actually extended it to everyone. Parents thought that it is something that they must use. But actually what we wanted was to encourage everyone to use because it's the technology that's available for them, a different form that perhaps they would not experience as a kid.
Known to the students as My Copyright Card, it allows parents to debit a whole month's worth of pocket money into the card. It also comes with a savings option so students plan their budget and put aside some of the money for rainy days. Yes, that may mean giving up on that sweet treat sometimes when the funds are running low.
Last time my mom had to give me pocket money every day, but now she just has to go to the bank and I can top it up through the school.
Our parents can check if you are not misusing the money through the internet.
If we say spend too much money, we can go to the machine and check our transactions and all this. We have more time to eat since the buying process takes lesser time.
We don't need to take pocket money from our parents every time, much more convenient.
Our pockets are much lighter than before.
We're in control of our own expenditure, hence we learn how to finance our own money.
A tool to help them learn about basic budgeting. The tap and go technology is popular with students. Parents like it too. But they say, just like cash, it's still necessary to instill discipline when using it.
I give them a certain amount of money over 22 days, and you have to budget yourself. Like one day, you have this much to spend, and if you were to overspend, then you have to go hungry. But it has not happened yet. Initially, with the implementation of the card, free for all, you know, whatever they want to buy, they just tap, tap, tap. There's no control. There's no daily control of like, this is my budget for today. So that was the initial stage, and after that I sat down with them and explained to them about budgeting, controlling our own finances.
For me, less hassle. I don't have to worry about giving her money every day or give her a lump sum to make sure that, and then worry that she's going to lose it. As for her, it's about planning. She's able to gauge how much I spend. And I noticed that she has the satisfaction of saving. When she don't spend, she's very happy that, actually I saved some money and all that for the week.
The same contactless technology, which lets us tap and go when we buy, is now available at 70 different shops in Singapore.
More and more stores will start accepting this mode of payment in the future where you just tap, you go, and you eat.
Well, perhaps one day we'll have a card that does it all and pay for all that we need. And perhaps cash will soon be obsolete as our payment system goes totally electronic.
The use of e-money and digital cash seems an unstoppable trend, but there are challenges to overcome before we see widespread adaptations. We'll have a look at that when we return.
Talk to me.
A penny saved is a penny earned. virtual or otherwise, you can't spend money that you don't have. And you and your money can be parting ways if you're not careful about your digital transactions. Yep, cyber fraud is still very much a big problem if you're shopping on the internet. Bala Murugan is one of the co-owners of an online IT store, D-Nexus, which sells PCs, mobile phones, and other IT accessories. Because its shopfront is virtual, the company is able to save on rental and offer steeper discounts to its customers. Deliveries are usually made within 24 hours and orders frequently amount to several thousands of dollars. Yet despite being an online store, its preferred mode of payment is very old-fashioned. The company likes COD, cash on delivery.
For local orders, cash or check. For international orders, is wire transfer, TT, or Western Union transfer. Singaporeans are actually pretty, unlike foreign customers like the US or UK, they're pretty skeptical about putting up their credit card numbers on the internet in case there's some kind of hacking or some kind of hoax going on. So when you tell them there's no credit card processing involved, especially the figures they're looking at is $2,000, $3,000, they're pretty fine with that. Yeah, they say, okay, I'm fine with it, no worries. Yeah.
D-Nexus isn't always such a stickler for cold hard cash. 3 years ago, the company tried implementing credit card payments and PayPal options on its website. However, the high level of fraud incidents soon put a stop to that.
We don't accept credit cards because it's not that we didn't, we used to. But there were a lot of fraud cases on credit cards, especially from overseas. In the end, even the banks could not take the number of fraud cases coming in. And the banks and we had a discussion, and the banks were saying, I think credit cards are pretty good if you're selling flowers or gifts. But if you're doing expensive merchandise like yourself, we suggest you try to find other kind of means. Since I'm selling expensive products, we can't take the risk to do online. So that's why we are an online shop, but we do not accept online transactions, unfortunately.
D-Nexus's payment woes reflects the problem that many online merchants are struggling with today: security.
We know that about half of all consumers have that as their biggest concern, the security about transacting. The largest threat for the online environment right now is the perceived threat that your identity is going to be compromised. So either your personal identity or your payment details. That's a real concern that consumers and retailers are expressing, and we need to collectively address that.
According to Visa, while there's still growth in online credit card transactions here in Asia, the numbers have slowed in the past few years. And online fraud remains a real concern.
Fraud is higher on the internet than it is in the face-to-face world. In the Asia-Pacific region, it's about 7 times greater than it is in the physical world, but it's in control. We can identify very quickly any spikes or heightened activity and address that.
But the risks are there, and online merchants and consumers are right to be concerned, since deals on the net are often made between strangers. And it doesn't help when one of the parties involved deliberately try to mislead the other.
It is the buyer is misrepresenting the type of product they're using. The seller is misrepresenting that they will send the product, or you're pretending to be someone you're not. So it's kind of a phishing or a phishing type encounter. So the job of the payment service is to try to address each of these areas of fraud and minimize it to the extent you possibly can.
The largest online marketplace for consumers, eBay, has been battling to keep fraud out of their site, actively collecting evidence to persecute those who are out to cheat.
It's different than the offline world, but I wouldn't say it's harder. Just as in the offline world, online criminals leave clues at the scene of the crime, and there are things that we can do to track folks down. We've had literally several hundred people around the world arrested in the last 2 years for committing fraud on eBay and around the various sites. And it's because we're able to successfully look at all the information, gather it up, go to law enforcement, present our case, and support successful prosecutions. And I think that's important. So I wouldn't say it's harder. I would just say it's a different type of police work.
To minimize fraud, Visa has introduced additional authentication protocol to protect online merchants and consumers. But more needs to be done.
We know that if we could address authentication in the online environment, we could probably address about 70% of all the disputes. And to address the issue of authentication, we have Verified by Visa, which is a protocol which helps to authenticate the cardholder at the time of checkout. We want to make sure that consumers are aware that they do have a zero liability. If they didn't buy it, they don't pay for it. So although consumers have concerns about engaging in the internet, there is protection for them to repudiate a transaction.
As responsible consumers, there are precautions we can take to minimize the risk when we spend online.
One of the best measures is to see, is it a safe site? So in the URL, the HTTP, if there's an S after that, that denotes a certain type of security. So that's one step that consumers can take. They may look for the virtual padlock, which is another sign. They should be checking their statements on a regular basis, making sure that the transactions, small or large, are indeed those that they've made.
I think the biggest challenge from a law enforcement perspective is actually the fact that the internet brings down borders. So, in the offline world, crime is frequently local. And a dispute with a buyer and a seller occurs actually within the boundaries of a particular province or a particular city. On the internet, there are no borders. And crimes actually occur across countries and across oceans. And I think that makes it a different kind of a challenge. But in addressing them and in working through them, I think we make the world a little smaller and actually help bring people together just like the internet does.
We're going to have a look at some electronic wallets after the break, so don't go away. Unlike cash, virtual money is intangible. But there are tangible, cool gizmos out there that can help us with our digital money transactions. Of course, a lot of them are still in a development stage, but it's always cool to ogle at what's to come.
Many physical objects we know have gone electronic. Email, e-ticket, e-card, and e-money. See a vending machine but have no coins to buy that much-needed drink? Well, there's always that mobile phone, which can now act as an alternative wallet for phone subscribers in Japan.
In Japan, cellular market is matured already, and we have to seek some new business area. And not only voice communication, but some useful measure for the daily life. For instance, in the wallet, personal wallet, so many cards inside, we can integrate those cards services into one iMode Felica phones.
Shopping is as easy as picking what you want. And then tapping your phone at a reader terminal to pay for your purchases. NTT Docomo uses a contactless IC chip technology called Felica. It lets subscribers use their mobile phone as a wallet, an ID card, a house key, or an e-ticket for transportation. Information such as transaction histories or account balances can be stored on the chip and viewed on the phone. And it's not restricted to e-cash. Other modes of payment are available as well.
We are now offering the credit card service by using iMode Felica terminals. Instead of using credit card, signing documented basis, we offer the credit service by using iMode Felica terminals, just waving the terminals over the read and write equipment without any signature. That's a very easy and efficient interface between card business and the user.
Purchases are billed at the end of the month with a phone statement. Users need not worry about misplacing their phones. Lost or stolen phones can be locked remotely with a call to the operator or by directly calling a pre-registered number. Today, 13 million people in Japan have already fitted their wallets in their phones. How lucky! We may have to wait a while for the e-wallet to get here, but there are useful gadgets available today that make our e-transactions easier. And that's what this user found in his latest toy.
One of my most favorite one, I would say, is actually this gadget called Portable Multimedia Gadget, PMG. It's just an 8.5-inch tablet PC, but it's running normal OS, so it's full finger touchscreen. It acts like a PC and are not fixed to a certain location to utilize it. And basically, it's because it's only barely a kg heavy, so it's very light for me to carry around.
The touchscreen tablet PC comes with an inbuilt Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. And with a 3G SIM card, users can surf the net, shop online, and do their housekeeping tasks right where they are.
It helps me by payment because I'm not confined in one location, and so normally if let's say I have certain thing that I just suddenly thought of it, I just find the nearest car park lot, so I just park my car there. I can straight away access my PMG. I can go to internet banking to pay whatsoever bill via through V-Post. It's probably the only device that I feel that I'm connected every time, everywhere.
You know, only the heads of states and famous people can have their pictures on dollar notes, but anyone, yes, even you and I, can have our photos printed on cash of a different kind. The humble cash card.
It is fun actually to be able to accessorize your things here. So we came up with this idea that why do I have a boring card where everybody has the same face? So last year we set about developing an engine, whereby one can simply go online and design your own